Hi newsletter subscribers, thank you so much for being newsletter subscribers. I really appreciate it. I know it's been a while since I've put a video out for you guys exclusively, so welcome to my secondary YouTube channel where I sometimes upload things for my newsletter subscribers, and I also post the private links to my client readings as well. So this is where all the covert magic happens on YouTube. There's no point becoming a subscriber to this channel. I notice that many people do after I put out a newsletter, but honestly I'm very rarely, if ever, going to post anything public here. It's just for unlisted and private things. So thank you so much for being here and joining me. I've got a couple of videos coming your way. The first one is this one, which is going to just basically showcase a few tarot cards that I connect with my self-love journey, particularly at the moment, and just talking about why a little bit. And then the other one's just going to be a ramble about some other stuff related to Self-Love September. So I'm very much in the zone with Self-Love September. I'm very much thinking about it. I'm very much like, I very much have it on the brain. So I wanted to put out some Self-Love September stuff for you. And just talk a little bit about what's going on with me, basically. So I thought this would be a nice short and sweet kind of video to do for anyone who has joined my newsletter because they want to get something informative or inspiring. So this is going to be for you. And then the other people who want to hear me ramble will get the other video as well, which is more about just different things I've noticed about my online journey and how I have to practice self-love in the online sphere and with my public I guess my public life, I suppose. I have to really practice self-love to be able to do what I do, and I want to talk about some of the ways in which that is the case, and these thoughts in the other video are very much triggered by recent things that have happened. So anyway, I want to tell you about some of my... See, this is why I do jump cuts. No, it's not really. The reason I do jump cuts in the videos on my channel is so I can get the information across much better, and also so I can relax and take a drink and have a look at my stopwatch to see how long the video has been. Like, I really like jump cuts. They make me... The fact that I can do jump cuts on my videos chills me out a lot when I go to do a video. I feel so much calmer, and then I make more content. Some people hate my jump cuts, but whatever. They get more content from me because I can do jump cuts. So I want to talk about some of the cards that I associate with self-love at this point on my journey and why. And I would love to know in the comments underneath this YouTube video which tarot cards symbolise self-love for you and why. If you're into tarot, if you read tarot, I would love to know. So Ace of Swords is the first card that oh, there we go. I'll have to tilt it a little bit so that my soft light doesn't destroy it. Yeah, so Ace of Swords is the first card that I associate with my self-love journey at this particular point in time. And the reason for that is that I feel sometimes like when I'm working full on and I've got plans when I'm not working, it can be difficult to maintain my focus on the importance of learning new things and getting my mind buzzing differently and helping me to feel like I'm getting fresh information going into my brain box. Sometimes it can be difficult for me to sort of make the time to research or study or think about new things or think about things in a different way. I hate the light. It's making the whole background go blue and I can't figure out why. It's been doing that on my main channel for ages and I just cannot figure it out. Any lighting engineers or lighting people, get at me with what I need to do about that, because I've got a great big soft light right in front of me, but it's making my background look really So anyway, back to Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords can very often be about a new idea, a new avenue for learning, and that to me is something of worth to consider as a self-love message, because I very often get stuck thinking the same things, talking about the same things, teaching the same things, etc. And it's really important for me to be able to branch out, and I self-lovingly try to remind myself often to do that. So that's my first self-love card. Second self-love card is the Four of Wands. And this is really about community, this is about connection with friends, this is about replying to my WhatsApp messages from friends, this is about making plans, it's about seeing people, making new friends, maintaining my established connections with existing friends, connecting with people. I can get very absorbed in my work. And of course I connect with a lot of people in my work, so sometimes I don't feel the urgency necessarily to connect so much, and I might leave communication for quite a long time. Now I do allow myself to leave communication until I feel called to actually have it. I certainly don't reply to everything as soon as I get it at all, by any means. That would drive me quite mad. But I think what Four of Wands represents is good times and memories being made, and sometimes I don't give myself enough of that good shit, and I sort of pass up things that I later wish I had actually involved myself in or gone to. And I've done really, really well so far this year with making sure that that isn't happening, whilst not taking my eye off the ball with my work and my spiritual stuff and everything that I want to be doing. Knight of Pentacles is a self-love card for me because it's really about adulting well. When I see Knight of Pentacles, I think about a person who is saving money, moving confidently towards their financial goals. They have all their paperwork in order. They're not late with anything. You know, they're not scared of deadlines. They meet their deadlines. Knight of Pentacles is a guy in tarot that I've had a problem with on and off my whole life since I've been doing tarot. The whole suit of Pentacles has been really hard for me to connect with. And Knight of Pentacles, I used to think of him as quite an intimidating figure because he was just so together. You know, he was like a proper adult, whereas I was only playing at it. And of course, then you get to this certain point in your adulthood where you realise that nobody has the grand plan and we're all just playing at it, obviously. So Knight of Pentacles is about me being self-loving enough to do what I've got to do and make sure I'm being responsible and make sure that I'm on time with things, and I'm coping, and I'm coping, you know, with the number crunching and my books and all of that stuff. Everything I've got to do that is to do with being a responsible adult. So Knight of Pentacles is about not running away from those responsibilities. The World is a self-love card because it reminds me of everything I already know, everything I've already learned, all of my wisdom. And it reminds me that I need to not downplay the extent to which I have already learned a lot on the life journey. And sometimes, you know, we all get those moments where we feel like a bumbling fool and like we don't know anything and we don't understand anything and we don't have the skills and we don't have the comprehension. And I think the World card just gets me back to this place where I'm remembering how much I've been through, how much I've achieved, all the challenges that I've overcome, and it lets me celebrate my capabilities and wisdom when I might otherwise not feel able to. Four of Cups I put in there as a self-love card because it represents my spiritual practice, especially meditation, but other things as well. Devotionals, rituals, being at my altar. That's really important, and I have found for me that self-love is about making sure I do not deprioritize that stuff just because I'm short on time. And I can usually always find something that I'm spending my time doing that's not as important as spiritual practice. So Four of Cups is in there because basically, essentially, I know that I'm bullshitting myself when I tell myself I haven't got time for stuff. I haven't got time for the altar. I haven't got time to pull cards. I haven't got time to commune with the divine. That's usually bullshit. There's usually some time when I'm watching some video that's got nothing to do with anything, or you know what I mean? Like there's usually some lazy time when I could be doing it. And it's really just about giving myself what's good for me, even though it's a bit hard at first to get that groove in the wood. I chose the Devil because to me it's the card that is most representative of shadow work, which I consider to be a self-loving thing that I do for me. I certainly wouldn't recommend that it's where people jump in unless they super feel moved to jump in there, which is fine. But for me it was something I came to later on the journey, and it was well worth it. I selected Eight of Pentacles because it reminds me of those really feel-good times where everything's going well with work. Like I just literally had an Eight of Pentacles time not long ago at my tarot space. I have done 4 or 5 readings this evening, just really enjoyed myself, had a great time, delivered them all within plenty of time, and just felt super feel-good about stuff. Yeah, and I love those feelings, but it's down to me to give myself those feelings. It's up to me to allow myself to feel like I'm coping well, and that I'm giving the adequate time and energy and focus to it, and I'm putting in the sustenance that I need to be able to get that energy going and get that momentum. Obviously there's always going to be times where there's more work than you have time, or there's a lot on your plate and it is stressful. But I think for me, I sometimes need to recognise when I'm the cause of my time related stress and my energy related stress, and I need to bring that into my line of sight. Five of Wands is a self-love card because sometimes I need to remind myself, as we all do, that just because other people are conducting themselves in a certain way doesn't mean I need to. And just because there's a shit show doesn't mean I need to RSVP to it. And I think that's a supremely self-loving thing to remember. So that's why that's in there. And one final card, the Tower. Because to me, it's self-loving to check my perspective and ask myself whether or not there is any truth to it. Sometimes we catastrophize, you know, we become convinced that something is way, way, way worse than it is. And that's something that I do. I am definitely someone who does that. And sometimes it's worth just going back to the drawing board and saying to myself, okay, but is it really a tower thing? Is it really that bad? Do you really need to view it that way? And quite often I will recognise that there are these different ways of seeing things and there is a different perspective. And there are actions that I can take to make sure it doesn't go to that place. So those are my self-love cards at this point on my journey. I'd love to know what yours are, or if you got anything from this, and if you were afforded the opportunity to just think about something differently or recognise where you might need to be more self-loving. So this has been a newsletter subscriber exclusive. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will be back in your inbox again with something a little bit more rambly for those of you who enjoy my rambly rambles. Expect to see a little bit more of me in your inbox, I would say, because I recently have hit my 2,000 subscriber mark. So I've got 2,000, what is it, 2,000, I can't remember what I've got now. But it's just over the mark of being able to have my newsletter subscription for free. So I pay monthly for the service now. I just started paying monthly yesterday, and I was kind of like, you know what? I've been thinking about sending something exclusive out to my subscriber list. But now that this has happened, it's kind of made me think, I quite like that I have to pay for it monthly now. It's always been free for me. I've never really tried to get my list up. I'm not a list-oriented person when it comes to the newsletter, so it's always been free for me, and I've always just done it whenever I wanted, and I'll continue to do it whenever I want to. But the fact that MailChimp is now taking money out of my account on a monthly basis is actually really good. It's a good motivator, because I'll see it there every month, and it's like a gym membership. It's kind of like, oh, I need to go to the gym because I'm paying for the gym. So I feel like I'd like to make more exclusive content on the basis that I'm paying to be able to send it to you now. So expect to see more of me. Much love and self-love. I hope you're enjoying the Self-Love September resources, darlings. And don't forget that my store is still open. You can still purchase counselling and readings and all that good shit. So if you want to hit me up and do some work with me, I am available in September. Okay, much love. Blessed be.